Welcome back to Jay's SmokeHouse. Is THC everything? Is THC really the most important thing we should be thinking about when we think about marijuana or cannabis? Is it important? Yes, you cannot actually get high without THC. However, there are two other things that people usually don't think about, and those are the other cannabinoids and terpenes. Terpenes and the other cannabinoids actually have so much more to do with marijuana than you think. I see a lot of stuff about THC. Oh, how much THC can I get? Let's see how much THC we can get in a strain. Now, I do find this fascinating, and I do support trying to get as much THC as you can get. However, this can actually have adverse effects on your high because the specific terpene profile of a specific strain and or all the other cannabinoids that are in that flower. And I have actually theorized in the past that if you have a higher THC percentage in your strain, that's taking away from other cannabinoids that you could have in that flower. Like take me, for example. I have a very high tolerance. I can take a lot of edibles before it even starts to affect me. I have smoked so many stoners under the table without even getting stoned myself. I just have a very high tolerance. Now, having said that, there are actually strains that have lower percentage THCs that affect me a lot more than a higher percentage THC. And so my theory was that the terpene profile and the other cannabinoids were affecting that THC in just the right way for me specifically. Just because one strain is at 20% THC and another strain is at 32% THC does not mean that you're going to get a lesser high from that 20% THC. It has way more to do with the terpene profile and the cannabinoid makeup than just the THC percentage. And that is because the THC is ultimately what gives you the high, but the cannabinoids and the terpenes affect how that high affects you. And that is why you can have one strain that affects two different people in so many different ways. Because even our receptors in our body are not the same as someone else's. And so we might be processing other cannabinoids or terpenes differently than another person. And so what I would recommend to you is to try many different strains. Don't just focus on that THC percentage. Think about if one's at 20%, what is the other 80%? And also in the beginning, I really like to keep a catalog of the strains I was using and how they specifically affected me so that I knew what a specific strain would do for me medicinally or recreationally. In other words, what I would have more fun with and what would actually benefit me medicinally. If you start this actual list, you might be surprised at the actual strains that affect you the most. And so please don't be afraid to experiment with other strains and test them out and see how they affect you. Now, I have attached an article in my description where it shows a study that they did on extracts. And it shows that just because you have a very large spike in THC does not necessarily mean that you're going to have a stronger or more powerful high. And I was really intrigued by this article because it seemed to lend credibility to my theory that terpenes and cannabinoids have much more to do with your high than previously thought. And take, for instance, hops. Hops is actually a cousin to cannabis. And they actually have terpenes in the hops that actually give beer its flavor and the hops. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and let me know in the comments what you think. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button if you'd like to stay up to date with videos coming out in the future. And now, as always, Jay is going to go smoke a J.